All right, hello, checking in to do another video today. In this video, I want to talk about what health is to me and what health means to me and why I'm doing this. Why am I so passionate about my own healing and why am I so passionate about helping others heal? So many years ago, when I started to get sick, I didn't understand health. I didn't understand the healing process. I didn't know anything about it. I was abusing myself mentally, physically, emotionally. I was addicted to drugs, and I just didn't understand. And my early attempts at healing were all through the medical system. And I quickly found that this was not going to work. This just wasn't going to work. And I started to explore radical diets and detoxification. And eventually I ran into problems with that as well. So about 4 years ago, I found myself in yet another very low place. And this was before I was much of a spiritual person. But even then I found myself asking Spirit, I said, what is health? Like, please help me understand. Show me what this is and how this works. And shortly thereafter, my life was flooded with so much information, so much wisdom about the body, about the mind, about the heart, and how they integrate with one another, and how they need things that the way our world is designed today, they are not able to access. I'm going to get into details of this in more videos. This is going to be one of the major themes of this channel, is how do you change your lifestyle to give your body, your mind, and your heart what it needs to thrive. Because the way that we're living today is really, really far from that. It's really far from that. If you want to create a system that made people sick, this is a pretty good platform to start with. Just look at the world as it is today. People are overworked, people are overstressed, people are undernourished, people are disconnected. And I became overwhelmed with the information, and I thought, wow, how do we change this? And throughout my life, I've been very concerned about the state of the world, about environmental issues, about politics. And eventually, I came up with this definition of health. Health is how well your parts work, how well your parts function together as a whole, and how well you function as a part within the greater whole. I'll repeat that. Health is how well your parts function as a whole, and how well you function as a part within the whole. But through this definition, I was able to resolve both ends of my conflict. I was able to resolve my understanding about personal health and how I take care of this being, and also resolve my concerns about the world and what was happening, particularly environmentally and socially. All efforts that I've ever seen to create change through resistance have failed. So the way I want to make change is by working on myself, healing myself. And I find that the more I get my parts to work as a whole, the more love I experience, the more light that I experience. And the more love and light that I experience, the more I can spread that love and light. And the more I spread that love and light, the more I function better as a part within the whole. And I can see my actions and my words touching the lives of other people, promoting change within them. And it's this ripple effect that drives me, that inspires me. I want to share a quotation with you by a guy named Gus Speth. And Gus was the environmental advisor to President Carter, President Clinton. He turned environmental activist when he felt that working within the system wasn't going to fix anything. And he said this: I used to think the top environmental problems were biodiversity loss, ecosystem collapse, and climate change. I thought that 30 years of good science would address these problems, but I was wrong. The top environmental problems are selfishness, greed, and apathy. To deal with those, we need a spiritual and cultural transformation. This is one of the most inspiring quotations that I've come across, and it's something that I try to live by. I'm not a scientist, I'm not a politician, I don't want to be either of those things. But we are at a critical point in the world where we have to start turning things around. We have to start changing the direction that we're going. And it starts with one person at a time. It starts with you. And it may seem insignificant. Your green smoothie you have in the morning, right? It may seem irrelevant. Your 30-minute daily meditation practice, it may seem irrelevant to the larger scheme of things, you know? Your daily supplements or going to bed at a decent time, it may not seem in any way related to the environmental disasters that are happening in the world today. But I tell you that they are. Because you cannot live, a spiritual and cultural transformation. You cannot be that spiritual and cultural transformation if you're deficient in vitamin D. You can't be that spiritual and cultural transformation if you're up till 2 o'clock in the morning stressing yourself out watching dramas on Netflix, right? You can't be that spiritual and cultural transformation if you're not working to become a better version of yourself. And you can't go out into the world and do the work that needs to be done, the critical work that needs to be done to save this planet and to save the human people. You can't do it if you're sick. You can't do it if you're tired. You can't do it if you're stressed. You can't do it if you're weighed down by dependencies on drugs or financially stressed due to your inability to work or the high costs of pharmaceuticals. All of these things are going to prevent you from becoming your greatest version, and you becoming the best version of yourself that you can possibly become is the most important thing you can do for the world today. I had a conversation yesterday about politics. I grew up outside Washington, D.C. And I was raised to believe it was important to be an informed citizen. And so I spent a lot of time reading the newspaper and studying politics and knowing all the terrible things that people were doing in my name. I had them memorized. I could recite them. Anytime someone wanted to argue about politics, I was there. I was ready to debate the facts because I knew more than they did. And where did it get me? It didn't get me anywhere. It got me more depressed, more angry, and more disconnected from my community. It created division rather than unity. And healing is the only solution to what's going on within you and what's going on around you. Healing is the only solution. And healing is always the process of integration. It's always the process of moving towards unity and wholeness. Always. And if you're arguing with your neighbors, if you're watching on the news about all the terrible stuff that's happening, if you're feeling anxiety and fear about the world, then that is not moving towards wholeness. That is not integration. That is resistance. That is separation. And that is part of the problem. So, to me, health is about getting myself together, putting myself together, not just so I can live a passionate life. I mean, I want to live a good life full of fun and adventure and joy. I want to climb trees. I want to run up mountains. I want to ride my bike. I want to do awesome stuff. I want to make passionate love, right? I want to live fully. And if you're sick, you can't do that. If you have problems with your body, you can't do that. but it goes much deeper than that. I carry the scars of civilization on my body. They're in my body, they're in my genetics. This is going to be a multi-generational process to turn this around. And it starts with you. It starts with me. It starts with seeing how this broken society has impacted my health, and to change that, to change my lifestyle, to change the community that I live in, so that I can nourish myself, my whole self. And by doing that, you radically change the ecosystem that you're in. And that might not be obvious at first. Some people might have an issue with that. They might have a hard time understanding that. But the truth is, you are a cell within a larger organism called Gaia. The Earth is a sentient living being. And right now, humanity is a bit of a cancer within that being. But we can also be part of the immune system of that being. You get to decide. What are you going to be? Are you going to be a cancer cell? Are you going to be an immune cell? Are you going to live your life bringing this beautiful, beautiful planet to its knees? Or are you going to live your life as the guardian of the earth that you were meant to be? It's up to you. And it starts with the seemingly mundane. You know, it starts with going outside every day and talking to the trees. It starts with meditating. It starts with gratitude. It starts with reaching out to those who you disagree with and finding common ground so that you can create unity and wholeness. It starts with love and light within, so that you can spread it into the world, helping those who are lost. Thank you for watching. I hope this video helped you. It helped me to make it. I'll be back tomorrow.